Welcome to Talkin' Maine with a Bowtie Boy. I'm Tom Saviello, and I have my special friend and guest, Richard Corey. Richard, welcome back.
Well, good to be here, Tom.
It's great to have you. So we're going to go take a trip to Dryden now.
We are.
East Wilton, we're taking the left, going
That's
down
right.
to Dryden.
Over the last year, I guess we've done several shows, and we first started off with the beginnings of Wilton and in the greater Sandy River Valley, and then we headed to my hometown of East Wilton. We talked about some of the industries there, and then later on we did a trip to downtown Wilton and saw all the different buildings that we had down there. So I thought it was kind of appropriate that we kind of do Dryden and stuff like that. And maybe later on, whatever, we can actually do something on East Dixfield. And maybe cool. You can get your buddy Randy Hall over here. And
we'll bring Randy in here and see what he can add to the story.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me about Dryden. Well, and one of the things we want to do this summer, now that we've got the equipment to do it, is actually meet in Wilton one morning and actually do a show by looking at some of these different places.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. We should do that.
So tell me about Dryden.
Well, Dryden, I guess, let's put up the first picture then, I guess, if they can get that up there.
See if Tommy can get that up for us.
Well, Dryden, as far as, look at Dryden there. Can you pick that out? We're kind of looking up towards 156, going up to Gould's.
Yeah, so there's a railroad station on the left.
Yep.
On the right would be Steve's Market, or what is now Steve's Market.
That is correct.
Okay, I got you. Yep, so we're coming down from Wilton, past the old Goodspeed woolen mill that's not there anymore, headed towards the intersection. Yep.
Yeah, it's just right where the snowmobile trail and the ATV trail is right now. They follow the same path there, and you're correct as far as the train station there is on the left with the gazebo right there, and I think that's the very beginning of what they call Adams Street, right by the gazebo. Oh, wow. It kind of goes in behind there. So anyway, as far as, Dryden was kind of a crossroads of the railroad and Depot Street and stuff like that. So there really was not a lot there before the railroad arrived in about the 1850s, late 1850s. So once the railroad came through there, that made that area more.
And that would have been the only place that you could have gotten off the train to come into Wiltonton, probably, correct?
That is correct.
I just realized that.
So really, as far as, if you look at an 1861 map of the Walling's wall map, you can see the railroad going through there, and very, very few buildings that was there at that time. But let's talk about Dryden.
Yeah, what about Dryden? Was it a town by itself at one time?
Well, no, but where did the name Dryden come from?
Mr. Dryden.
Well, there is a Mr. Dryden, but we don't know for sure. But a friend of mine and another member of the Wilton Historical Society, Maxine Brown, did a little bit of research and found out that there was a guy named John Dryden. He was born in Temple in about 1840-ish somewhere. He only lived there for a few years, and then he moved to Massachusetts, and then he goes on to school and basically went to Yale, and then he starts an insurance business.
Oh, interesting.
Right. And you know what that insurance business was ultimately called? Prudential.
Really?
No joke. No joke.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But he wasn't in Wilton or Dryden or whatever. But then he then in the early 1900s he made millions and stuff like that. And then he becomes a U.S. Senator from the state of New Jersey.
So he goes to Massachusetts, starts Prudential, and eventually moves to New Jersey.
Yep, and it was about somewhere in the 1900s, 1903 to 1910, whatever. He served as a U.S. Senator and stuff. So, but when does the name Dryden first appear? I am not sure. I'll have to do some more research. So there is a theory, basically, that maybe his connection and the Dryden Post Office came in 1899. It was first established. That's the date I have. That's it. But, so it could be that he had some influence on that.
Maybe the insurance or the money or whatever. Interesting.
Then other people, as far as say that hobos coming along the railroad and stuff like that, would stop in there, and they knew it was a dry town. They just called it Dryden.
Oh, that's another. Yes, because Wilton was dry for a long time.
Yep. So
interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that was kind of cool.
Dry town.
Yeah. I think we'll go to the next one.
All right, next slide, Tom. There we go. Oh, there's the train. Wow.
There's the train, and there's the old. That's the building that was where Steve's Market is right now. Is that's the old B.F. Stanley store, and that actually was constructed right there, right after the railroad came through there. And so, that building stood there up until probably the 60s, I think.
Was it?
When did it burn?
Steve's Market burned when we got here in '90s.
In '90s.
But I don't know whether that was that building or it had been rebuilt since then.
I think it was that building.
It may have been.
I think it was that building. Well, anyway, as far as I've been told that this picture was taken around 1913, and I'm not very good at cars and whether that's a really accurate thing, but so this is what I've been told. And have you ever heard a guy named Joel Knowles? Joel Knowles.
No.
Well, you're dressed like him today.
I am. Yeah, right.
Okay, this is where.
Oh yeah, Joe Knowles. He was a hunter. He was a.
Went up in the northern woods. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they say that this is the train with people meeting Joel Knowles in 1913 when he comes out of the Maine woods. He was born in Wilton, and he went up to he was in Boston, worked for the Boston Globe, I guess, for a while. And so they had a thing that he said that he could actually go out in the Maine woods and stay survive for about 2 months, 8 weeks and stuff like that. So he did that. He took off in the Maine woods and basically stayed up here, up in northern Franklin County, up by Eustis and stuff, and he stayed up there for that period of time.
I do remember the name.
Yeah, and then but he probably had a little help up there with some buddies up there. So I think, so he was going to go up there naked.
Oh, naked.
Naked, just with a little loincloth around.
Okay.
So,
all right.
And sort of like that show on
I got
TV
my
now,
pants on.
Naked and
They're
Afraid.
different.
So he comes out of the Maine woods, 2 months later, and he stops at these railroad stations along the way between Eustis to Boston. And he stops off, and here he's greeting his parents. His parents was Wilton. So he would actually come out and greet the many visitors that were.
So he would have ridden the Sandy River Railroad down from Eustis to Farmington, got on the Central Maine Railroad.
Yep.
It's interesting, too, in this picture, you have cars and buggies.
Yes.
So it would have been around that time, I'm sure. And it also points out, just like we talked a minute ago, is that would have been the only place you could get to Wilton. So there must have been a great, quote-unquote, taxi service there to get people up into town, whether it be a buggy or whether it be a horse.
Oh,
or
definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, so he actually, when we finally got to Boston or whatever, and he would stop along the way and want to show his bearskin coat he made and deerskin trousers and stuff along the way. So he got down to Boston, and then he went to give greet the people out there, and he gets up and starts to speak, and he says, "It's easier being in the Maine woods than it is to give a speech." You could see. Yeah. I thought that was kind of cute.
It's just pretty good.
Yeah. All right. I guess we can move on to the next one
picture.
Here.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good picture. That is a good picture.
Yep. And here's the old Steve's Market before it was burned. I think was it called Tony's before?
I don't see. When we got here, it was Steve's Market. So
Yeah.
I don't know what it was prior to that.
I think it was called Tony's.
Tony's was they used
There was
to,
this Tony's downtown.
That's correct. That was the Food City. Now it was called Tony's when we called
Right.
it. We called it Tony the Ponies. That's what it was. And then it went through a couple ownerships until it became Food City. So that's the old Steve's Market.
Yeah, and I actually we have a lot of pictures of this, how it changed over time with the balcony and stuff like that.
Were they like a dry goods store?
Yeah.
So they had a little bit of everything in them.
Yeah, and they probably, people coming into the railroad to get some things before they head south or north. So I guess we'll go to the next one here.
Next slide, Tom. All right, yeah, there you go.
Okay, you were looking back. There's a familiar, old stone house there.
The stone house.
You see that? Yeah, and then you're looking up to the left, way up on high, there's Kent Drive. up there.
Wow.
Isn't that kind of neat?
Yeah, that's neat because before, it was all cut.
It's all clear and stuff like that, and you can take a look. And I got a story to tell about. You can kind of see right by the telephone pole.
Yeah.
There's a watering trough.
Yeah, yeah.
This I don't have know quite who made that, but I think it was a relative of Roy Pike's, a member, a historical society member who grew up in Dryden. But anyway, he said they found this watering trough out in Thayden Farrington's pasture, and they ultimately got it back to the historical society.
So that's the one that's sitting outside this.
Exactly.
Oh. So if you go into Wilton and you have the historical society white building, that watering tank, and it's got a date on it too, if I remember.
I think so. I think it's around
1879, or I don't remember.
Yeah.
But that would make sense because Farrington was probably running cows.
And it was using watering.
We're using it as a water trough.
Yeah, and so that's the kind of a neat story, I think.
Any story about the stone house?
You know, I got to research it. I'm not sure.
Because it's interesting because it's got in the back of it, it is a stone house, and there's like a summer kitchen in the very back of it that's out of stone.
I'll have to.
Let's see if
I'll have to do that. I know that Roy Pike, he's a graduate of Wilton Academy in the 50s or whatever. He lived in Dryden for a number of years and moved. And he said he had a brother who was kind of sickly, and he said his brother died out on that lawn.
Oh, no
Yeah,
kidding.
we had a show. We had a meeting at the Historical Society this fall, and Roy was very good at speaking to us and showing us. We had many of these pictures that we're seeing today, and he would thoroughly explain what was going on during his lifetime there.
Wow.
So I guess we'll go to the next one.
Next slide. This is great.
Okay, you got to think as far as Dryden is way away from downtown Wilton, basically. So it was a big transfer area with freight and stuff like that. And also, not only just freight, but you got passengers. So I have a picture, too, as far as of the Dryden-Wilton stagecoach, basically. So you had people, getting onto the stage right there in Dryden and being taken up to downtown. And many of the early kids coming up from New York City to go to Kennewatha Park would be transported right up through there. So there'd be a wagon load of girls coming up from the city, from southern. So it was quite a happening place there. I think you see the buildings in the background there. That would be Pine Street. It's a street right across from the Dutch Street there.
Okay, yeah.
And here we would be right at the base of Village View.
Yep.
I guess we'll go to the next
down
one.
into town,
Yep, next one there. Okay, here we have, this is sort of an interesting, this is another building that was right next to the Village View, and we're looking off in the distance. We see a stage, a wagon coming there.
Yeah, coming in, yes.
Okay, right up into the left-hand corner, upper left-hand corner, is actually where the Nazarene, the church is there in Dryden, the Baptist church.
Oh, wow.
Before it was constructed. That church was constructed about in the 20s, I think right around 1926 or something like that. So, and then there's a big building right in the back there, right where the current post office is. It was the Rangers place, and they actually had a auction house there. Huh. But you can kind of see how open it was down through and cleared and stuff.
Yeah. What were they manufacturing? It looks like wagon wheels.
Wagon wheels, yes.
Yeah. They were manufacturing wagon wheels there. Wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, it is kind of neat.
Yeah, I guess we'll do the next one. Okay, here we're
we're looking into.
We're looking
from
into,
the railroad
and then we're
tracks,
kind of looking at the baggage station and the ticket counter too, as far as there off to the left there, and then of course we have the B.F. Stanley store right there in the center.
Right in the center, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're kind of looking right down that road.
So
I
that
called
factory
Adams.
we just looked at would have been over behind it and to the right.
Correct. Right off the screen. Yeah, I think we could do the next one. Okay, here we're looking up at Kent Drive again.
Okay.
There.
Yeah.
And then and this would be right to the left would actually be where the village view would be,
and then more to the left would be where
the
Market.
the house sort of in the center with the gray in the gable thing. Okay, that was The downstairs was actually where the post office was. That's where the post office was, and upstairs is where our Historical Society member Roy Pike lived, and he grew up there as a kid.
Yeah, that building is not there anymore.
That is correct.
And I think Jan Stenson owns it, and they had to finally clean up the stuff that was fallen down from that building years ago.
Okay, and you can see the stone house over there too.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
Yep, and you're right where that is.
Yep. I guess we can do the next one. Okay. We have a tape of Claire Mosier talking about bringing pulp down from Perkins Plantation and the Interval and stuff like that. And they would do it with oxen, and they would come down and bring it down to the station right there. So here we're looking back at you can see the depot buildings off to the right there, up in there, and then the houses there are the ones on Pine Street, and then further on would be where the Dutch Street is.
Wow.
It is kind of crazy because looking at the landforms now, things have changed so much and stuff like that. But it took me a while to figure that one out as far as what direction that was. But,
yeah, and it's all grown up too.
Yeah,
so it's really difficult.
So that open area probably would have been covered with lumber or pulp and stuff.
Would have been like a yard.
Yep.
Yeah, wood yard.
Yep. I guess we'll take the next one. Aha.
And there's the wood pile down, lumber pile.
Lumber pile. This picture right here is actually, you're looking at Village View way up on the top there. The Village View is way up that open area and stuff. This is Depot Street. This is right where the Taylor construction is. Right in this area right here is where the sawmill was, right in that area there.
So there's a sawmill right there.
Yep, there's a sawmill right there. And that's where Wilton Lumber was there. But this right here, basically, this lumber mill right here was owned by my great uncle, Norris E. Adams.
Wow.
So,
did it burn down, or did they just?
It lasted for up until probably I think we've got some more pictures here later, next few slides here. Okay. But it was in existence right up until probably 1953, and that's basically, I think, when Wilton Lumber took it over in 1953, and then that's when they kind of started to convert to more electrical power. This is all water power.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll take the next slide, I guess.
Next one. That's
yeah, and here we have, you can see the water coming in from the left and going through the mill for the sawmill. And here we have unidentified people as first, but I got
where the bridge is where the water was coming through.
Exactly, and actually I have a Sanborn fire insurance map that I didn't get included in here, but what it does is shows the raceway coming head race and then a tail race coming through there, and it's kind of neat to see that. I'll have to share that with you sometime, but. And we'll take the next one. And here, it is amazing. I see a figure right around the 1950s. Whatever they said that this mill here was producing about 20% of the lumber in Franklin County.
Wow.
This was in a report, kind of the centennial report that we had written in 1953. So.
And that would have been Wilton Lumber, or eventually became Wilton Lumber.
That's correct. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I guess we'll have the next one. Yeah, and here, this is in 1953. This is basically the period of time when the Wilton Lumber took it over from the previous owners and stuff. But this picture is really in there. In the background, do you see that big old smokestack in the background?
Yeah.
Well, right behind the laundromat, the old Nationwide, which we'll see some pictures of later, there was a corn canning factory. There was Marbles Corn Canning Factory behind there, and that's where it was located, basically right in the parking lot where Jardins have their warehouse now.
Okay, yeah.
You kind of take, I'm not sure what that street is called, but that's kind of neat. And we'll have a close-up picture of that corn factory.
One of the streets there is Thomas Street. I just remember that because it's my name.
Okay. Yep. I guess we'll have the next one, I guess.
Cool. It's a 1950 Dodge right there.
Yeah, and here's another view, and this is actually looking up towards the Woolton Woolen Mill, where it's now taken down. Okay, we'll take the next one. Another more newer view and stuff like that. Wow. I guess I had a few of these in here, so I guess we can do the next one here. We've explained that pretty well. Yeah. What does that look like, Tom?
Gas station, Texaco.
Yep.
Where was that?
That's the laundromat.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
The laundromat was a Texaco station.
Yeah, that's what it was. And that was, wow. That served as the dates I have, that actually changed from a garage in 1968. We have, at the Wilton Historical Society, we have a lot of photographs, and we have a picture of, at an auction there, there's a photograph with activities going on, and they sold the materials out of that at an auction. And I think the next picture will show what it turned into. So we'll have the next one.
Wow, I never knew that. Yes,
it's nationwide.
Yeah.
Nationwide. I think first, and it was Ray Lampkin owned it, I believe, if I have the name correct, and stuff like that, before it turned over to Charlie Young's. There may have been other ownerships there. Yeah. I'm just not totally familiar with it, but that's how basically it looks pretty much the same there today. Yeah. Yep. I guess we'll have the next one.
Nationwide was a grocery store.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it's like a
it was a grocery chain. It was called National after a while.
Okay. Well, everybody from Dryden knows Charlie Young, and I guess this is the meat cutter there at Young's Nationwide store there for a long period of time. So there's a picture of Charlie.
Wow.
Yep. And he has a couple daughters in the area.
Yeah, Kathy Groder.
Yep.
Is one of his daughters.
Yep. And I guess we'll have the next one. Now that, Tom, that was right across the street from the laundromat, the store.
Yeah, okay.
And if you remember, as far as that, a few years ago, it collapsed.
Yes.
And it almost felt like it just collapsed on itself.
Yep.
Whatever. But this was a Wilton Printing Products. Not Dave Carcass, but Harold Carcass had a printing business there, and I believe this earlier was a First and National store.
Yeah, it was a grocery store when I was told, and then it became.
Yeah, Frank Schumann, a guy named Frank Schumann, operate that. And Roy Pike tells me there was a building that was there was a fire station right near this area here. Had a fire truck in it, and he said it burnt down on the 4th of July with a fire truck in it. So, okay, I guess we'll take the next one. The next photo, please.
There's a Nationwide.
Nationwide here. You know, and all the places actually had gas pumps outside there. So, okay, we'll take the next one. Now that's a great photo. That's a Wilton Canning Company. Basically, it was located right where the woolen mill is. Can you count it? Isn't that a great looking up there?
That's beautiful.
Isn't that kind of great?
You see the ale in the back.
And then probably the Wilson Stream is right behind there.
Right behind it. Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And then this is where Goodspeed, I think, purchased this land, and we're right around 1903 or 1904, something like that. Started building the woolen mill there. So we'll have the next one. On the lines of canneries, this is the picture of the George Thomas and Herbert Marble canning factory. That was located right there behind the laundromat. And that burnt in a fire in 1960.
Wow.
Yep. I guess we'll have the next one. That was what it looked like at the very beginning of the Goodspeed woolen mill right there, right on Depot Street.
Yeah, we took that down just recently.
Yep. But there was the Goodspeed had a couple sons, and over the years, just like how Bass did, basically they did expansions and the different building episodes and stuff. So it was quite a quite a little building there. Guess we'll take the next one.
These are great.
This is probably how you
I
remember this
Yep.
now, as far as this is
Yep.
probably when the Fosters, basically, they took it over, and I believe they did a lot of croquet
Croquet
sets
sets,
and
yeah.
things like that there. So, but that is
Yeah, when I got here, and I know exactly where that little fire stanchion is. That's right as you're going out into town, just as you get to the right. It's right there, it's still there.
yeah, no. When it was a woolen mill, though, as far as during the World War II, I think the armed services kind of had some type of control over it, and they were making a lot of blankets during the war
blankets,
periods and
yes,
stuff
yeah,
like that. And there were several awards that the factory got for productions for blankets and for cloth materials and stuff like that from I believe it was the Army, I believe, that did that. I guess we could have the next picture.
How many more have you got?
Just a couple
Okay,
more.
good.
Just a couple more,
we got
because I know
about
we're
2
running out of
minutes,
time.
yeah.
Yep. And here's the dam there. As far as there was an earlier dam that
Yeah.
basically was smaller, but then
That's
this
the
was
one
about.
behind, yeah.
This is the mill that was a dam that was.
Behind that ran the thing that they
Yeah.
took out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, okay, and then we'll have another. I think it's going to be our last picture.
Perfect.
Yep. This is kind of an overview looking down there. You can kind of see Prospect Street, and then you can see. Look at the.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Pond,
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
the
yeah,
head
the
pond,
head pond, yeah.
back from the dam, and you got the factory right there, and you
Yeah.
got, Wilton Academy would be right up in the
Yeah, I didn't realize
distance.
how big that Deadwater was back
Oh,
then.
it did.
It's
It
huge.
went right up through there, right?
Yeah. Wow, fantastic.
So there's a
That's
30-minute on Dryden.
That was
I guess we could
wonderful.
do some more, but
No,
but time-
we should, but we need you to come back on again, and we'll talk about some of the other stuff. But
Oh, yeah, there's
East
all kinds
Dixfield
of-
would be great. I'll
Yeah.
see about Randy Hall coming on with us.
Sounds
Richard,
good,
that
Tom.
was fascinating. That was
All right.
really cool. I appreciate all the work you've put into this.
oh, I
mean,
enjoy it. I enjoy it. Now,
and these postcards are all at the Historical Society.
all these pictures we've got were in our collection at the Historical Society.
Fantastic.
So.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay, thank
Happy
you.
New Year,
Yep.
and thanks for coming on.
Okay,
It was
great.
great. Hey, that was a great show. One of the best I've done. We'll see you
Yep.
next time. Tune in to Talkin' Maine with Tom and his buddies. See ya.